Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirisho here, and now, before we do start, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku. We also had the group. Now, Izuku, him and the hybrids went out hunting, and they had quite the eventful night. They got their food, and Tamaki, he got to see the type of monsters his former allies have turned into. He saw how his friends have changed. He's a part of this family now. He doesn't know how to deal with it, but seeing the horror of all this up close wasn't too good. Now, Tamaki, he was being brought into this slowly. He wasn't used to it. He didn't know how to respond. Seeing death so up close and personal, he was a little more familiar with. But being the one who will cause it because he has to, that he was still trying to come to terms with. Now, while out hunting, Deku was able to find Stain. However, Stain was hunting down the last member of his old group. They threw themselves at Stain with as much force and power as they could. But their former leader, now that he has gone completely over the rails into the deep end, he was too much for all of them. He was crazy, unhinged, no longer felt pain, pushed his body past its own physical breaking point until he fully turned. He was relentless, feasting on them and making sure he can take them all out. They went down swinging. And Shinso, he was going to be the one who would finally get his revenge. But it would cost him his own life. There are a few of them that have made one simple choice after they get bit. A gun or a knife? What do you choose? Do you try and throw yourself at him again, take the knife, or do you take the bullet? It's not an easy choice. It was one he thought he'd have to make, until Izuku showed up in front of him as the devil with a deal, and he made it simple. He infected Shinso after making him decide. He then murdered Stain and asked him about his abilities. And Shinso, he was terrified and impressed. As a human, Izuku Midoriya posed a lot of problems. Ambitious, not afraid to fight, willing to kill. He was someone to be looked to for strength. In a dead world, he learned how to live, like Stain. And now, he is now closer to this dead world than he ever imagined, since he met a very powerful individual. Now, there was also later, back at UA. Kami came to him asking to be infected, and Izuku gave her multiple chances to say no, to walk out of the door and forget this ever happened. But she didn't. Deku, he bit her. He made things clear. This is the price she has to pay. And, well, the debt she has to herself, it's going to need to be repaid as well. And after that happened, Nedre laid her out in their bed, since she is alive, and it's quite possible her change could be different from all the others. And we do actually have Izuku. The next morning, Deku does begin his own stir from his slumber. Currently, him feeling better, feeling a bit more aware. He opens his eyes and sits up, wondering about what to do today. It doesn't feel cold in the room. It feels nice. Him turning, seeing that Nedre, she is still asleep, and that Kami, That wound on her neck has healed up, along with scarred over. Him bringing his hand down and going to run his finger over it. Before he does check her pulse and find that her heartbeat, it has slowed down. And he does go to focus. Before he does go lean down and get her scent. And she smells like one of them. He assumed it would have been faster. A living heart pumping blood? Yeah. Okay. Most took hours. He's been out for... Shit. Where's that alarm? Fuck. Him grabbing the clock. Before he has to see the time on it and see that the hands on it are not moving, since the batteries in it must have died. And this does annoy him. Before he does go to walk over and open the window, before tossing it out and then going to turn walking out of the room. Since this, it does annoy him. He needs to check on the others, see what to do, head out, leaving the room and stepping into the hallway. If he checks on Shinso, he should still be unconscious. Or maybe turned, just like Kami. Talk to Sir Night-Eye, try and get into contact with him and see how that does go. That plan is shoddy at best. It would be an interesting idea to test. But where to head to? A water tower. A water tower. That's a nice idea. Hey. I'm looking up. I'm going to see Toga. You're up early. More like a little late. What time is it? Oh. It's a little past 8. Why? I gotta get busy. Anyone else up? A few people. Have you seen Fatgum? No, I haven't. Listen, if you're gonna stay here, you're helping out. Oh, no, I know. We're getting better. We were able to do a bit more. We're still working on the hallway. Her putting her hand over her shoulder. Down there. Getting it all sealed up. Along with, well, you know, cleaning up a lot more of the mess. Yeah, some of that smell does linger. Doesn't really go away. It gets worse around the cafeteria. Oh, we know. Trust us. Though, that thing in there, it looks a little bad. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Listen, don't go in there. Place is usually locked up for a reason. Really? Yeah. Chizuki's talked about a bit of an experiment, and I'd be willing to test it. See what he could do. Honestly, given his abilities, maybe he should try and work on UA. I'll need to check with him and see how precise his control is. If he can actually get rid of some of the windows, that would be best. Oh. Okay. I'm walking past. And she stares at him. Still very confused by that guy. Fatgum said they should find him. They did, and now he's here. And we do have a room. Down a few halls where the door, it has been locked. And Deku, he does go to unlock it from the other side using gear shift. Right now, him going to have the door open up before he has a step in. Walking over as he does get to bend down. Him going to wake up Shinso before Shinso does get somewhat roll over, groggily looking at Deku before he does get somewhat sit up. Him a lot more alarmed before Deku does get to tell him. He might want to calm down. Oh, I feel sick. You're probably gonna until you feed. Listen, I can already tell from the smell in here, you're one of us. Am I? You are. Did you get that information put down? I did. Listen, do I have to eat something right away? Or, I mean, do I have to hunt right away? How does this, first of all, shut up. What? Listen, your quirk. You're gonna want to find out how all that works. I don't know how your abilities work, but whenever you test it out, tell me. I want to know what you can do, how you operate it, and how it changed. All abilities do, in one way or another. They're also a lot more powerful. I'm sure you've seen that. Stain's ability, what was it like? It was. It's hard to describe, honestly. Just remembering it, just this overwhelming pressure in your chest. I honestly thought my heart would stop a few times. We, I've seen people just collapse over the pressure. That amount of murderous intent, I swore I felt like I could feel it from a block away, even if he was hunting me. You just feel your entire body shaking down to your bones, and your blood runs so cold you'd swear you were naked in the winter. That's a very interesting description. It's the closest I can think of. Off the top of my head, there's no other way to describe it. If you went after him, if you're not another infected or you, then I'd say you're dead. Okay, now, you mentioned another infected. You mentioned a bunny, perhaps? Anything you can tell me about that? Uh, Former pro, I think. Not really too sure. She moves fast, and people just say they see the ears usually first. It swipes their friends. If you move in a large enough group, then there's a chance you can get away. I'd say, I don't know, I'm not gonna put the mathematics bullshit into all this. I just know it's low. But listen, a lot of the information I couldn't put down. Shoulder was still a little messed up, and that fall kind of hurt me a lot. Yeah, your body heals fast now, so you gotta feed that metabolism. Otherwise, you might start eating yourself. Seriously? It's a possibility. I know usually we have to feed often. I particularly sometimes feel like I have to feed a lot. I've been restraining myself less. I can take you out later, but we're going to go after some of these little infected you're talking about. Can you name one that we can go to? Talk to, see more about? Do you know the location? um, well, that's a whole thing, is it? Yes, yes. Um, I'd say it's dangerous. I'm not sure it's a good idea. No, it is a good idea. Trust me. We'll head there and check it out. Me, you, Tamaki, and Nejire. I'll get everything prepared. You stay here. You're gonna at least need something in your stomach. Why? You need energy to hunt. We'll go to the cafeteria and we'll get something from the freezer there. Is that where you're keeping that stuff? Or keep it fresh, or would you prefer to eat maggots? That's disgusting. That's what I thought. Listen, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but if you try to back out at this at any point, you're gonna realize you can't. Do you understand? I've trained with Stain and I lived with that bastard. You don't gotta try and pull that shit on me. Good. Now, don't confuse that for me letting that shit slide. Okay? You're not there yet. Fine. Fine. Deku gonna stand. Before he is to walk away. Him going to move quickly. Heading back to the room and seeing that Nejire, she is awake. Her turning and looking around. On the room, it doesn't have a lot of things. Her asking exactly what happened to the alarm clock. It ran out of batteries. Oh, shit. Yeah, we can find a different one. I doubt any are still working, but hey, we'll check. Listen, what do we do with her? I don't know. She reminds me a little bit of Setsuna. Does she? Kind of. I know I had to sit with her sometimes. Help her get to sleep. It was hard at first. Oh. Yeah. She does seem eager. It's different. Yeah. So, did she seem a little... Yeah, she did. Very forward. Very eager. That's what I was gonna say. Well, I mean, it's... Nejire, we can talk a bit more about this later. Listen, I mean... Jesus. Yeah, maybe we should. Izuku, listen, I'm okay with it. What? I don't care. We're alive. We eat people. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Okay? We're alive. Hell, let's at least try to enjoy being alive. Who fucking cares anymore? Right. Listen, we need to head out. We're hunting again? No. More like we're making an offer. We're seeing how things will go. We can get food for her too. Though, leave a note. She can leave the room. But as for that spot on her neck, it should be easy enough to cover with a shirt. Though, no tank tops. People are going to ask questions if they see it. Yeah, we'll deal with them later. They're not really my priority. We'll talk with them later. Right now, I don't really want to deal with that. We already have enough trouble on our plate. I'll talk with Chizuki before we leave and tell him what I want him to do. Other things are currently going on, and the group are still trying to fortify UA a bit more. We can help once we get back, but having proper allies, it's going to be another issue. Okay? Okay. That works. Though, are you sure? You seem a little different. I know. I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to take more action. We can't just sit around. And if that means I have to do more things I'm not comfortable with, I'll do it. I'm also testing a theory of mine. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. If I'm right, he'll test it too. If I'm wrong, then he won't do it. Okay. Deku's stepping out of the room. Before he does, gonna give Chizuki some orders and tell him more about the situation. Letting him know that he's in charge of fixing UA with his new quirk. And the man, he does understand. Well, he has been liking this new research he's able to conduct with himself. It also does give him a chance to properly test his new abilities. Putting this place back together into one piece, it should be simple enough. He'll get a lot of work done. And that Deku is counting on. He's expecting by the time he returns, this place should be in more than proper order. Now, we do have where they get Shinso some food and leave. Kami slipping out of Deku's room when she can, and even wishing Nedre and him a goodbye. Now, Deku, he does go to slip a note into his own pocket, thinking about what they can do. And right now, they do go to head out. Deku trying to give Shinso some pointers, since he does get this feeling. I mean, his body. He's had this feeling before. It's almost like a runner's high, but just so much better. I mean, his hands, they're crazy. Then on his mind, the three of them currently moving through the city. And Deku, he is flying through the air. Him currently covered in the purple aura, as Shinso is as well. Nedre flying with her body surrounded by its own aura. And he does go to point down, talking about it. They're nearby the area. Uh, you can survive the drop, right? You can. It's like parkour. But, it's gonna take a minute to get used to. So ready? Yeah. Good. Him turning. Before he does see the area he selected. Telling Shinso he's letting go. Doing so as he doesn't have a second to mentally prepare himself. He was expecting a bit of a count, but currently he does go flying down from a few 100 feet in the air before a building does pass by his head. Him going to smash his hands out and rip into the concrete before slowing his descent and going a turn, leaping through the air and finding that his jumping speed and distance are far greater than he expected, throwing his hands out and smashing into another fire escape, him flying through it before crashing into a barred window. This being where he does get to land. And Izuku, he does a step onto a water tower before looking around, walking over and going to see a box, bending down and going to inspect it. It's a nice wooden box with a crate on it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just move this one here. Okay, no lock. Interesting. This must be one of the ones that Nedre set up. Before he's going to open it up, seeing a note that does have a name on it, and it is addressed to someone he doesn't know. But the handwriting, it isn't familiar either. Old, smudged. Yeah, this note was never picked up by whoever it was addressed to. Him going to drop it, since it might be one of his former upperclassmen at UA. Now, he does go to set this note down he does have in his pocket, before he has to close it up and then to turn, putting the box back on top of this crate, as he has to stand and walk over, hearing a loud crash before he does go leap into the air and then come flying down, before he does a stop in the air and move back up, seeing as Shinso, he does currently climb out of the apartment, covered in some blood, and talking about a infected he had to put down, since it did not like him. And the two, they do somewhat float there. Deku telling him, are they nearby? We should be. Just, a bit up the road. We should start seeing some plants and stuff like that. Plants? How do we know we're there? Trust me, you'll know. It's this, no, it's a warehouse, kind of. But it's got this thing on top of it. The two going to turn. And Shinso, he does try to get used to his new abilities. Currently him leaping to a building and crashing into the wall, digging his fingers into it to get a grip. For as I turn and begin to try and leap, trying to adjust more. Currently leading the way as the two, they do to fly. Them going to see the large tower in the distance. And Deku, he does stare at it. The way the top of it is built, the way it does look, it looks like a tree in the middle of a warehouse. It's large, it's massive, it's beautiful. That on Deku's mind, before he does go look down and see a broken wall. A large tarp draped on the inside. And Izuku, he does come flying down, before he does begin to hear some sounds and people arguing, going back and forth about the territory they're all sharing. And Izuku, he currently does get a step into the room, pulling the tarp to the side and going to look around, before hearing a few people talking about it. If they come over to his side of the warehouse again, he is gonna fry them. Please, you clearly don't get it. We divided this place up, and that is my side. It's mine. Don't touch any of my shit. Really? You think you can take me? We agreed to share because this place was some pretty good territory. Plus, you know how it is. Some of those things don't like us. Still view us as food? Or did you forget? With this new shit in town, I think it's more important we all share. Don't you? Gonna try and fucking skewer me again? Good at how that worked on last time. Alright? Please. I'll kill you if I want. Then, after I'm done, you know what I'm gonna do to you? Let me guess. Shove a spike up my ass and roast me like a pig. The two staring at each other. Before Izuku does get a whistle, and the two do both go to turn, staring at him before he does talk about it. Standing there with Nedre, who does go to land on the ground as Shinso, he does stand there behind Izuku. Him, currently, still dressed in some of his old training gear, an outfit very similar to Stain's. And Deku does get to talk about it. With his arms crossed, he feels like he's interrupting. You got some balls to walk in here. You didn't see the, you know, line. I saw it, but I ignored it. Listen, who's your leader? That'd be me. Oh, fuck you, it is not you. Deku hearing a voice, talking about it. None of them are in charge. Him looking up. Before he does, go see the massive greenery on the top of the building. It's like the ground. Shrubs, tree branches, limbs all over. But I can see a few things. The top of the warehouse is covered in branches, and on some of those branches are parts, things that are suspended in the air. And the girl who does come moving down, her hair is connected to everything. Currently, Ibara going to lower herself down, talking about it, with some of the limbs that do get to protrude from her arms and body. Her in a black dress, talking about it. They all share. They're a complicated little bunch. As long as they don't get in each other's way, they work fine together, especially against some of the newer stuff in town. Really, what can you tell me? What can you give us? You're not human. No human would have walked in here. You would have been dead already. Deku beginning to have his black whip begin to somewhat morph around his body, and it does almost look like a fiery aura to Ibara, since you're just going to see the way it does move, the way it reacts. Her eyes are dead locked on Deku, and he has not moved. Before she's a turn, expressing, might as well come out. Their guest here is different. No use in hiding it. Her going to watch as Deku does it turn his head. The moment his eyes do to move, she has to bring her hand up. And Black Whip, it does go to shoot down Deku's arm before it is to create a weapon. And Deku does tell her she might not want to try that. It won't end well for her. This place is their home, but it's far from safe. And what are you gonna do? Him turning, seeing a large 14-foot creature, and it is massive. Him turning his head as Izuku, he recognizes this one. At least he thinks he does. It's someone from Class 1B. That part he knows of. As the massive man covered in hair, he does come stepping out. His footsteps massive, and he does go to walk similar to a gorilla, talking about it. Exactly why is he here? I recognize you. Do you? Why shouldn't I rip you in half and eat you? 'Cause I could kill you. And if you tried, I'd rip your skin off and wear it as a coat. Does that sound fair? I already see your cards. You don't scare me. Clearly you don't know who I am. I was there at UA the day you murdered my friend. Or my classmates. Didn't know him too well, don't really care anymore. I'm from Class 1A. You hunted us till we got to a safe spot. How did that feel? And the man, he does stare at Deku. More surprised. since the two have been similarly acquainted, and that it does somewhat intrigue him. Before Deku does ask if there's anyone else here, and someone, they do get a turn. Currently, them going to see Izuku and rush at him. Before Deku does get turn his head. Nedre going to walk forwards and bring her hand up. Before Deku does get a turn, throwing his left hand up and showing that she needs to stop. The person going to freeze in place before Deku. He does get a turn to Shinso, telling him, does he want to show off his power? Or does he want to stand there? Show off what he can do? Because otherwise, he'll take care of this one. Get out of here! The person's screaming at Deku, yelling at him to leave their fucking territory, get out of their fucking home, and leave their fucking place. Otherwise, they will be Deku going to motion his head to the left. The person's jaw going to snap and break off. Before, they just don't sit there. And everyone, they do stare at Deku surprised for looking at his associate, assuming that that was his quirk. And Jotaro, he does go to turn, looking back at Deku for moving forwards, expressing, right, do what they will with him. He's usually all bravado. Can't back it up with his little abilities. What can he do? Not much. He can turn anything into a bomb. That's really about it. Can he now? You know, I really don't like quirks like that. I had a friend with one like that. At least I thought he was a friend. Shinso? Him looking out, staring at this person before he does begin to activate his quirk. And the person's eyes immediately gonna glaze over. Before the person, they do gonna have their body fall forwards and limp. Deku releasing his own control. Talking about it. Right. That does put everything in perspective. Turning directly to Shinso. Talking about it. There's a lot he wants to do. A lot that they need to happen. Tamaki didn't want to come. Tamaki stayed. So, what's he going to do with that person? If they want to be aggressive, if they want to overstep their bounds. Do they care for him? Everyone in the warehouse remaining silent. Before Deku does a turn back, and Shinso doesn't need Deku to say it. The person bring their hands directly up to their own skull, as they do to blow their head off, their body falling backwards and hitting the ground. And Izuku does get a turn back. Talking about it. Well, they just saw what his associate can do, what his friend can do. He has an offer for all of them. At some point, there's going to be a war. Do they want to be on the winning side or the losing side? What do they want to pick? And what are we supposed to do for you? Join you? Listen to you? What are you going to do for us? You don't have any... Thanks. Deku turning back away from Shinso. I have full control here. If I want to kill you, I'll kill you. Don't interrupt me again. You seem overconfident. I'm not. What about you two? You can speak. What's your offer? What's your angle? Okay. My offer is to infect you. Open your eyes, dipshit. We're already infected. The person stepping forwards, talking about it. Try again. They don't work for free. They don't do anything for him either. Make it a sweeter deal. Okay, fine. You want your own little bit of territory? Any of you? All of you? I can do that. I want to take control of this city from All for One. It's not that easy to understand, even harder to discuss, but in the best way of saying it, he's like my uncle. You could say that my great, 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 blah, blah, blah gave me a power. I just so happen to not inherit that ability, but seven more. So, I also changed a lot. I crawled directly out of the heart of this city and was reborn as something entirely new. And my uncle, Tomura, sorry, Tomura, them's doing a Deku confused, and he does get someone turn his head, trying to think about this flash in his mind, since that was not good. A single image? You were saying? You look a little busy. Deku turning back. Sorry, Shigaraki, his uncle, if you don't want to put it in those terms. He's trying to maintain control. He's a sad, pathetic old man who finally needs to be put in his grave. And that's what he's going to do. He's already had to deal with him before. He's met him in person, but through a proxy, through some little meat puppet he controls. So, he wants to kill him. Become the king in this undead world. Have control and sort a few things out. Make things better. As long as he's alive, he's in constant danger. And Jotaro does go to move forwards. Him not entirely believing everything. The idea that this guy has 8 quirks? Come on. You're full of shit. Him charging Deku. And Deku, he does go to bring his hands up. Before he does go to throw 4 fingers into the air. Him going to pull his man up into the air before he does a talk about it. Him being covered in a purple aura. Right. As he said before, they already saw his one ability. His little friend. So, someone gonna rush Deku. Nejire going to bring up her left hand and blast them. The person currently who does have the pyro ability going to be blasted through the top of their skull, them falling to the ground as they do sit there dead. And Izuku, he does get a look at the other 2 remaining here, before he does get to ask, okay, well, that's how many now down? 4 left. Thank you. 4. There's more of you? There is. Our, well, I guess you can say friendly bunch are out hunting. The little duo that they are. Good. Now, going back to your big friend up here. Are you going to listen? Because if you're counting right, that's 2. I'll kill you when I get down there. No, but like I said before, you are a little bit of an issue. So, here's your warning. Right now, him going to feel something strange, as he does begin to feel a strange tugging sensation. As Deku, he does go to bring his hands up and go to bring his hands together. Before he does go to open his fingers and then go to rip his hands apart. And the person, they do to feel their skin pull from their body. And they do to open backwards like a messed up cocoon. Right now, Ibara, watching on as the person, they just smash to the ground. And the large monster, it does lay there dripping fresh viscera, fresh blood. And Deku does look up at the giant pelt of the creature. It smashed into the ground before Deku does express. Now, he's going to continue talking. He's not here to play games. He's here to make a deal, make an offer, and if all of them are done, he's gonna talk. He's gonna give them a portion of his blood. If they accept it, they can come with him. He has a proper home. He could give them proper territories. Though, for prey, he can't promise that. That's on them. He's not their keeper. That is what he can promise. Give them territory after this war is over. After he murders the bastard. You really think we'll join you? You could, or you could refuse me. It's going to take you a while to heal and a lot of feeding. I can give you a way to make it faster. You can make us better? Ibara, lowering herself down to the ground completely, before just stand at eye level with Izuku. And he does a step forwards, talking about it. He could have infected them before he even stepped into the room. He's giving them an offer. He's not handing this out willy-nilly. All they have to do is agree to it. Show him they're loyal. Show him they'll want to. He'll warn them, though. After he infects them, his bastard of an uncle will be after them. Really, I am a little human. Heart is still beating in my chest, and I can still taste things. A lot of things. Healing's better. Don't know how it was before. Wasn't exactly a zombie before. Jumped straight from human to infected to this. Her stepping forwards, and her ears, they don't deceive her. She thought it was some sort of trick. She can hear. No, she thought that was one human heartbeat. It was loud and fast, but now that she gets closer, it's three. Not loud, not fast, but three heartbeats that are pumping blood. It's true. Plus, the closer she gets to him, this feeling is coming off of him. Her body doesn't want her to approach. No, this isn't. She's scared. She's never been scared of any of the people in this room. Her hands feel a little shaky. It's not possible. Ever since this happened, she's been unafraid. Deku stepping forwards, talking about it. Does she, her flinching, and Deku, he does stop. Does she refuse or accept? He doesn't have all day. I accept. Your friend? I'm gonna turn, walking over and bending down, before he has to ask, seeing that the bleeding has begun to stop, and a small layer has begun to try and regenerate. But the amount of damage Deku just caused was large, and the amount of blood he does see on the ground, oh boy, it could probably fill a small pool. And he does go to express, looking at the beast face. Exactly what is he going to say? Is he going to refuse? You know, quirks get better, but aren't they always on max? He can give them more control. Regulate that feeling his body does have. Extreme. Extensive. Does he not want to go back to a little bit of that normal side? And the man does stand there, staring up at Deku. And Izuku, he does go to stare at him, waiting for an answer, waiting for him to say anything. Before he has to hear someone begin to talk, asking what the hell is going on here, Deku going to stand up and turn. Before the two people do come to rush forwards, one person beginning to split into multiple, and the other they do to bring their hands up, right out telling them to stop. What? What do you want me to do? Just stop. Listen. You don't want to do that. Really? Why shouldn't we? It's simple. This guy's a little powerful. And who are they? They're the same person. Really? Don't want to talk about it. Leave. You're gonna want to hear him out. The two staying there, for Deku to stand up, turning and expressing. He's still waiting for this man to answer him. He'll be with him in a second. The person right now behind Izuku staring at him, wondering if they can get a lucky attack in, wondering exactly if it can work. And Deku does it await. Danger sense going to go off as his eyes do to turn the direction this person is. And when they do to bring their hand up, going to shoot a spike out of their arm, there is where they do to freeze, their arm already up as they were rushing forwards. And Black Whip shot directly out from Deku's back, piercing into their brain as Deku, he does go to pull it back out. It running directly back to his back, talking about it. Like he said before, he's here to make an offer. They can still work with him if they refuse, though he won't give them the same level of trust. He's still going to be on the fence. They can't hurt him. He can see the future. It's one of his abilities. Inubara does still stand there, surprised, caught off guard. I mean, his friends weren't moving to save him. He's in full control of the situation. She's made the right choice. Though she can't say the same for her old classmate. Still wondering what he might choose. And Deku, he does have to bend back down, talking about it, bringing his hand down and grabbing the man by some of the skin that's trying to reform, pulling his head up as he does make a noise, telling him to answer him. He is tired of waiting for a response. Are you going to answer me? Fine. I accept. Good. You're a mutant. I'm wondering how this will work on you. I've seen varying results. Oh, what are you talking about? Deku going to bring his hand up, spraying mist into the man's face. Before he does a turn, going to pull Ibara directly towards him, her flying at him as he does grab her by the throat and let her bring his hand up, spraying the mist directly into her face as well. And she does a sucking of breath before coughing. Right now, her backing away and feeling this strange sense of nausea. This strange feeling. She feels like her vision's gonna black out. It's odd. It doesn't feel comfortable. She's stumbling backwards as if, fuck, this is the first for... How is this? Her alarmed. And Deku, he does a turn, looking at the person who they do to stand there, turning and going to bolt. Deku not really caring, for looking down and seeing their mutant companion. But he knows the person, they just sit there. Them currently breathing heavily and trying to take in what they can, trying to see how it can work. And Deku, he doesn't talk about it. He might want to be careful. Try to breathe slowly. He's seen some infected take on his power. Try to eat 'em. Get their own little slice. Though, he's almost like poison to them. If he fights it a little too much, if he pushes back a little too hard, then it's going to hurt. He might fully break down. He's seen it happen before. Yeah, he'll change, but it can either be pleasant or the end of him. He'll let him choose. Turning. Right now, Ibarra still on her feet, breathing and trying to get used to this feeling. Since this change, it's going to take some time. Deku turning as the massive skin of the creature is going to fly towards him. Him talking about it. He'll be keeping this. It's nice. If they do want to talk more with him, he'll be at UA. Though, if they do make him use force, he'll come down on them hard. He will track them down. He will use every creature under his command to find them. And he'll do the one thing he doesn't want to try. And what's that? I can look through the infected I control. Right now, you are going to become one of my creatures, one of my people. A part of me is with you. Think about that for a second. Afterwards, get back to me. Listen, there's a lot of things I can do. A lot of them are not very nice. I'm willing to do those things. That is what I am. There's no name for me. Not yet. Though, I'm curious to hear what people can come up with. Maybe I'll leave that one up to people. I'm going to turn and going to leave. Before Ibarra, she does consider following. She does consider going after them and finding out more about this. Her turning to her old friend, looking down at him. She can already feel her mind beginning to change. Her mind already feeling different, better, medicated, as if that might have been possible. But she's looking around. There's some strange tint to the world. There's something off, new about it. And she does go to move over, wondering exactly how he'll be affected by all this as well. If they're going to work with him, they might need a bit of a plan, since they have their freedom. He made a deal, and they might have just become indebted to him until that contract can be fulfilled. If she has to work alone to do that, it's going to be bad. She wants to have this meathead at her side to help her with it. With that being said, let's cut back to UA, where the humans, they've been trying to go over a lot of things. They are still trying to get some work done. But when Verchinsky started to do some more work of his own, they saw how much he can do. He was able to put back up some of those concrete walls, start rebuilding, and even fix the windows back to what they used to be. He could actually put this place back together. And that made them feel better. Some of the larger patch jobs they left to him, and he was able to do it. Able to fix nearly everything. The windows they still wanted to board up. Some of the holes in the wall he was going to seal. Get rid of some windows and handle them that way. This place needs to be a fortress, so he'll make it a proper fortress. And that is what he does plan to do. Now, when Izuku does go to arrive, we do currently have a conversation where Todoroki and Momo are still discussing everything. All Might is nowhere to be seen. Neither is Endeavor nor Lady Nagant, or those military vehicles. He can only assume they left, and they've already went to go see the committee. And Izuku, he has a turn. Right now, him trying to reach out, trying to see what's happening with All Might. He is concerned, worried about his former mentor. Currently, going to see a few things through his eyes, and All Might does gotta look up. Endeavor expressing. He's still not really too sure how to explain everything. Even if the committee will believe it, he doesn't know if they'll let him into the bunker. Are you sure? I'm very sure. Do you know you took out a lot of the military? Hell, the news thought that you might have been one of the first infected. That you took out hundreds of people, took out many heroes. You killed Mount Lady. I know. Do you? Jesus. Toshi, I don't even know where to begin with everything. Deku looking away, as Endeavor was going to say something else, and he does get to turn back. Him going to head into UA. As people, they are still talking about a lot, still going over a few things. Todoroki is all for heading out to the bunker, all for leaving, trying to get away from the building and away from Deku. This is bad. He knows it is. And he is campaigning for this a little bit harder, a little bit more. And Momo, she agrees with him. They have a lot of gear that they still have from the manor. If they take it and go, then they'll be okay. And that is where Deku, he does come stepping into their room. All of them turning and staring at him, as if the devil just walked through the damn door. And he does just stand there. All of them a little scared, as there is Todoroki, who does a turn, noticing that Kimi, she looks calm. Everyone's looking at Deku with fear, but her. Her eyes are drawn to him, but not for the same reason. She told him. She told that fucker they were meeting. Listen, Izuku. What do you want? Is that it? Is what it? Is that the first thing you're going to say? If you want to leave, leave. I won't stop you. Are you serious? Yeah. You're all afraid of me. All of you. I know. If you want to stay, if anyone here wants to stay, I'll let you. I'll even extend an offer. If you want your powers back, if any of you want power, more help, a way to survive, come back here. If you want to leave and go out, I'll let you. If you want some of my blood, I'll give it to you. All of them staring at Deku a bit confused. And there is where Todoroki does understand what he's trying to say. Deku turning and looking at Setsuna, his face softening. Listen, I have a theory about Hashi. Shut up. You're gonna want to hear it. No, no, shut up. Setsuna, if you don't tell me you don't want to hear it, I'm going to tell you it anyway. I'm sure you've had the same thought for months. Just, just shut up. He might have a quirk. He doesn't know how to control it. I don't like those odds. If he is born with an ability and he activates it, there's a possibility. Who the fuck knows? Maybe it could be okay. I'm giving you some of my blood in a vial. If you ever need it, use it. Hope it doesn't come to that. And if all of you want to stay human, fine. Those who don't, talk with me. Come to me. And I'll help you. If you don't want to leave and you don't want to be me, don't want to be what I am, you can stay human. But no, I'm extending this offer. It's there on the table. Think about it and accept it if you want. I have a lot to think about. Deku turning, going to leave quickly. And right now, he is to head back to his room, where he does go to sit down, trying to think, trying to figure this out. He sounds like a monster. He sounds like a villain. Isn't that the fucking cliche? Isn't that the cliche? How many of them are gonna leave? Who's gonna stay? Will she stay? He's not optimistic about it. He's trying to be real. He's trying to face all this, trying to just him turning, smashing his left hand directly into the wall, and it does a crumble behind his fist. Before Deku does go to bring his hands up, rubbing his face, feeling unnerved by everything. Before he has to hear a voice, Kimi going to step into the room, talking about it. Is he okay? I'm trying to calm myself down. Alright? I can help you. What could you do? I can be here. It's weird. Complicated? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Her walking over and going to sit down on the bed, talking about it. She's not going to try and understand a lot of this. She won't even begin to try. Well, that's not the right words. He's uh he's been through a lot of shit and he's going through more. It's got him angry. Her eyes going to look directly at him. And Izuku does express. Angry isn't even the right word. Okay, fine. Her standing before she does step forwards, going to bring her hands down onto his shoulders, talking about it. If he's angry, he can be angry. But if he does keep it in, it's going to eat him alive. She's seen someone like that before. She's seen a guy get torn apart because he was too mad. He was eaten alive by it. By zombies. I mean, yeah. Same shit though, huh? You're comparing my anger to a guy being eaten alive by zombies. See, you're laughing. That's good. Her sitting down on Deku's lap, for bring her hands over his shoulders, currently wrapping them around his head, letting them dangle, grabbing her wrist with her left hand. You know, he can talk. She'll listen. She can even try to crack a joke now and then. See how that does work. There's a lot that she can be here for. A lot they can go over, talk about. She's on his side. He can confide in her. She'll trust him with anything. And he's hoping that he'll do the same. Her leaning forwards. And Deku, he does go to kiss her. She kissed him slow, wanted to see how he'd respond. And he does it bring his hands up, wrapping them around her. Feeling better. Feeling a bit better. Trying to think about what to say, what to think about, what to do, how to respond, but right now he doesn't care. He wants to get away from everything. Just step away from his life that's crumbling in his own hands, falling apart, and this new thing stepping into his shoes. This thing that should have been buried underground long ago. But it's not. It's alive, wearing his face, and walking around. And it is tired. It is hungry. It's hungry for a lot of things. Now, with that being said, we do have Ibarra. She has thought of Deku's offer. She's thought of everything. And she is currently making her way to UA. And her friend, he was unfortunate. He was not ready. He's going to stay where he is. Though keeping a distance like that, she feels is not a good tactic. If he's going to be helpful, staying at arm's length is bad for this guy. They can make more plans, go over more things, and see what they can do. But she wants her own territory. And if she does have to dance with the devil, do the unholy act, she will. She'll dance with the devil and then get what she wants. Then she'll walk away. Hopefully, never speak with him again. Or, if possible, at least hope that this new associate, this new ally of hers, can be quite a powerful one. Especially if he's not speaking in lies. Now, with that being said, there is Nidre. Nidre, she's got a lot going through her mind, and she is heading back to her room after talking with Tamaki, and even talking a little bit with Shinso, since he had quite the interesting reaction after today. He wasn't afraid, and that is something that she did like to hear. Telling Deku about it is going to be good. Though she did start to see people packing, people leaving, and she wanted to tell Deku about it. Heading back to her room, or Izuku's room, to talk with him. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.